In this chapter, we'll take a look at what I call an optional step in mastering, applying reverb to your audio. The reason why I call this step optional is that some may feel that adding reverb when mastering a compilation of several tracks will give the listener the same impression of space and environment from one track to the next. However, some find that adding reverb is not required or desired. The choice is up to you and the overall project. I am sure we all have had some experience when working with reverb plugins or external devices. The key role of a reverb is to add dimension to your audio by recreating a listening environment. A good example is listening to a drum mix via close mics. You would hear and feel all the drums, but none of the room or space that the drums were being played in. Reverb during the mastering stage is often used to add that feel to your audio. Now again, every engineer will have their own taste, but personally I will use a little reverb on the audio if I feel that it is lacking that environmental element. Another use for a reverb is that if you're mastering a range of songs that are to be compiled together, a good idea is to use a specific type or preset reverb that allow you to add the same environmental element to each track. Applying reverb can be viewed as a personal preference or perhaps a request from the artist or recording company. Are there any rules or guidelines when applying it? Well, to avoid argument, I will say no. However, there are some tips that I can think of that you can benefit from. A general guideline that I personally follow is a reverb should be something that one can feel, but not hear. When applying reverb, you should aim so that you have the same sensation as being in a particular environment without hearing the details of the reverb. Therefore, it would be a good idea to know what type of room or environment setting you are trying to achieve before you start applying. As to where you place your reverb in the mastering chain is really open to individual taste, but you will typically want to place it after the EQ and of course before the final peak limiter. Whether you place it before or after your compressor will solely depend on whether or not you want the reverb applied to the compressed audio or uncompressed audio. I tend to place my reverb after the compressor. Presets seem to bring on a love-hate relationship with many artists or recording engineers. Either they love to use presets as it makes life easier, or hate to use them as they want to create a custom sound that they can call their own. Regardless if you're going to be starting with a preset that has been designed by yourself or one that came bundled with your reverb, if you are working with the entire project of multiple songs, I would suggest that you use the same reverb preset for each song in the project. This will ensure that each song has the same environment. If you are going to be applying reverb to your audio, remember that you will be changing the perceived width of the stereo image. And remember that to maintain our tight low end, we should be keeping those lows in the dead center. Two options to control this. The first is to use a reverb that will allow you to control the frequency ranges of the reverb that is actually applied, so that you are applying a reverb to only the mid and higher frequencies. However, the problem with this is that you may not achieve the desired simulated environment without the low end portion of the reverb. So the second option might make more sense, which would be to apply reverb to the audio source before applying any phase correcting or converting the lower end frequencies to a mono channel.